Welcome back, Independent Threads fam. We have got a very exciting show for you today. I've got Brandon from S2S Creations with us today. And if you haven't been following him on the timeline, he's been dropping some gems about leatherwork, custom sneakers, kind of his process, how to pick out and tell the difference between different materials and things like that, which we're going to dive into a little bit more today. But also allow you a chance to get to know him better and what his process is like, the business and things like that. But Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me. Thanks again for giving me the opportunity to kind of tell my story, but also get a chance to have a dialogue between the two of us and kind of push the narrative that customs are a good thing. And there's a lot to learn. But first, I'll kind of introduce myself to those of you that aren't familiar. My name is Brandon Johnston. I am the owner of S2S Creations, which stands for Soul to Soul Creations. Um, I have been doing this since around 2018, 2019. And when I say this, I mean taking shoes apart and putting them back together using premium materials. And that's anything from Jordans, Sambas, Dunks, Birkenstocks, Air Yeezy 2s, whatever you can think of. I've tried to get my hands on it. I also teach as well. But I'm currently based in Raleigh, North Carolina. I spent about 10 years honing my craft up in the Milwaukee area as well.
Excellent, excellent. So let's dive into that. Leading up to 2018, what got you into making customs? Why did this become the thing for you?
S- Yeah, great question. So essentially, I had always had a love for footwear, not from a traditional standpoint of a lot of people that maybe you've interviewed, and a lot of people that you've interacted with. My love for footwear came more so from finding out how to help others find the right shoes for them, in the sense of like retail jobs for fitting people for like running shoes, for example. So I worked at a kind of like a, I don't want to say Hibbett Sports because it's not really like a Hibbett Sports, but it was a local North Carolina chain called Omega Sports. It's not around anymore, unfortunately, but they had about 20, 25 stores in the area. And I got the job out of high school and wanted to learn how to fit people correctly for their gait analysis and stuff like that. So my background actually comes more so from like the running side of the industry, not so much like the Jordan retros and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it quickly kind of grew into that. And then when it did, I actually remember seeing a post on social media on Instagram. I'll never forget this. I was like scrolling and I think I saw a pair of Python Air Jordan 1s. And I was like, what are these? I was like, these look fake. Like AI wasn't a thing back then, which makes me
Yeah.
sound really old, but AI wasn't a thing. And like, I remember looking at it and going, like, this can't be real. Like, this has to be Photoshop or this has to be like hyper realistic painting because there's really good artists out there that do this. Well, it turns out that was a pair of the shoe surgeon, Python
Oh,
Air Jordan
good.
1s. Yeah. And so I followed Dom and the shoe surgeon, his company for a while during that time frame. I think this was pre 2018. And this was like 2016, 2017. Finally, saved up enough money to go out and have the opportunity to go take a 4-day class Easter weekend in 2019 on how to actually deconstruct and reconstruct a pair of Air Jordan 1s for the first time ever out in Los Angeles with about 45 other people. So that was like the first like toe dip into the pool of customs, if you want to call it that.
Okay. And so why did you what was the catalyst to make this your business or your day to day, right? What
So yeah, that's a great question. So like my father, he owns his own business. He's an entrepreneur. Not anything like shoes. It's fiber optic networking, which is completely different from like footwear, right?
yeah.
So he's worked corporate, he had done all that stuff. I had a corporate gig at the time. This was pre-COVID, obviously, and I was in marketing and I enjoyed it, but it was like this isn't my like fulfillment. Like I don't get fulfillment out of this. It's just a way to pay bills and do the things I want to do in the free time that I have, the extra money that I've earned. But he kind of said, "Hey, after you take that class, you should look at starting an LLC because you never know. You might have something come up, down the line where you need to have an LLC kind of set in place." And I was like, I remember learning about that in like business school, but like I don't remember like, how to actually go and do it. And so he was more or less the catalyst, and I was like, well, I just kind of want to make this a hobby right now but because I don't even know where to begin when it comes to like running your own business and all that stuff. It was a little intimidating, especially coming from the world of like corporate, where if you've ever been there, if you know people that have,
That's
there
right.
it's very much like these are your hallways and you can only go down this hallway. And like
That's right.
you very rarely get to go outside of that hallway, right?
Yeah.
So very, very, very scary. But I would say it was him. Him and the fact that uh well, this kind of leads back into it, I guess. So sorry this is such a long answer, but basically, once I did that, I had the LLC formed. I named it S2S Creations, and I'll touch back on why I didn't name it anything with footwear specifically, but for right now, just stick with me. So, formed the company, found a little studio in downtown Waukesha, which is just a small town outside of
Oh yeah.
Milwaukee. Got into a studio with like no AC.
Right.
It was, I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you like the rustic vibe, it was sick, but it had nice big glass windows. And it was 250 a month. And I was like, I got to get this out of the one bedroom apartment because my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, she was like, you got to get out of here with this. You can't be doing this in here. You can't be using those glues in here because it's not good for you. It's not good for me. You need to get it out of here. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So luckily I found this place, 250 a month. And this was right when the pandemic hit. So this is from like, fast forward 2019 all the way up to like 2020 roughly. And that's when things started kind of shut down and, people were getting furloughed and let go. And of course, that's exactly what happened to me. I got a call one morning. They said, hey, unfortunately, we're gonna have to furlough you. If you don't know what that means, basically that means you take vacation without pay for the most part. And I was like, all right, well, let's just see how long this lasts. Little did I know that was pretty much it. And then about 3 weeks later, they were like, yeah, we got to let you go. And so it wasn't just me though; it was like tons of people in the company got let go.
Sure.
Um, and I wasn't scared, I would say. Again, we talked a little bit before this started about like relishing opportunities that are challenging, and I think that was one of those moments where I was like, "Sink or swim, buddy! Like this is the
Yeah.
moment. Like you got no family up here, so you gotta make it work if you want to stay up here. You can't go move back in with mom and dad." So,
Oh,
I was like, "All right, well, I got the LLC." So, and I at this point, I had gotten to a point where I felt confident enough to teach somebody like how to actually build a pair of sneakers.
oh wow.
Um, Maybe not in the way that I do it now. Like my process has changed for the better over time. But at the moment, I was like, I need to find a way to make some money from this because it's my skill set is I worked in marketing. I know how to work a camera and a video, video camera and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
I kind of luckily I had all that money invested already in the company, and so I launched a digital course on how to make your own Air Jordan ones at your own pace with patterns and everything that you would need to get started. The only thing I really wasn't including was literally a sewing machine because that's like 2 grand. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to get that on your own. But for this, I can give you all the tools and everything you need, all the knowledge to get started at least. And so
Okay.
first weekend I made about $8,000 in profit. So yeah, yeah, I
Wow.
wasn't believing it. I will never forget this. My wife and I, we were in Kohl's at the time. I think we were getting some like socks or something. I don't remember. But anyways, we we were in there and then like my phone started buzzing and it was the drop weekend of like the class or whatever. And I
Yeah.
wasn't selling it for anything crazy. Like I wasn't like this wasn't like $1,000 course, right? Because I was like $1,000 I would charge you in person because it's in person, it's more hands-on, it's
Your
more
time.
work for
Yeah.
me. But for something like this, like I'm not gonna fleece people on that. Like I'd rather just be like, yeah, if you can afford it, it's $800 or $600. I can't remember what I charged for it. I think it was like 650 or something like that, and which was a steal at the time. And these people bought the courses and kind of built a little community out of it. And yeah, like I said, we ended up having around $8,000 in profit, which it was crazy for me. Like I was like, oh my God. So that was kind of the moment the light bulbs went off, going, okay, I think I have a thing here. I think I have a business here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For sure.
yeah,
So I want to go back to something you mentioned. So you
sure.
took the class with the shoe
Shoe surgeon.
surgeon.
You can just call him Dom too if it's easier.
Yeah. Took the class with Dom back, I think you said about 2016 or so. This is now 2020, so about 4 years where you say, I'm ready to teach people, right? And I think what happens a lot of times is those 45 people that you took the class with,
Yeah,
they took the class, maybe they made a custom or maybe they did one or two pairs for themselves.
sure.
And that
Sure.
was really the end of it. And they felt fulfilled in that. But
Yeah.
so how often were you making shoes and deconstructing shoes to get you to that point where you're like, I think I can teach somebody?
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I didn't have so I actually took that class in 2019. So like there wasn't a whole I was like doing some customs in 2016 and beyond that
Okay.
into 2019, but it was more like just the painted stuff. It wasn't anything like deconstructing, reconstructing because
Okay.
nobody's mind had really wrapped no one could wrap their mind around that. Like it was just like, wait, you can take something apart and put it back together. Like it's weird because you never think about that. Like with other stuff, you're
No.
like, oh yeah, car engine. I could totally take that apart and put it back together and make it cooler. Like, the
Right.
car industry is it's the same thing pretty much.
Mhm.
And after I took that class, spent a little bit of time taking things apart and putting them back together. That was the best way to learn. Because like, don't get me wrong, like Dom's class was great, but 4 days is not enough. I mean, you need to get your 10,000 hours in, really, is what it
Yep.
is. And
Yep.
part of it was had I looking back in retrospect, would I have should I have waited a little bit more? In my mind, maybe, yeah. But at the same time, it's like I wanted to make sure that anytime I told everybody this that signed up for the class, if I learn a new technique that I feel is better and more up to date with standards, quality standards, you're gonna know. That's just included with the class. So it wasn't one of these things where it's like I'm an expert, I know how to do all this, and like you guys should follow me. Like that was never ever I never ever wanted to come across as that. And I still to this day don't want to be called an expert because that just implies that you know everything, and truth be told, no one does. I mean, there's always a different way to make a shoe. It just depends on what is your preferred method that you can, kind of go, okay, I understand it the best this way because everybody learns different. I'm more hands-on and I have to screw up several times in order to understand how things work. Most
Yeah.
people, they need to be handheld, which is fine. That's not a problem. But, so anyways, going back to what you're saying though, like yeah, I think just in that time frame, I had spent and any downtime I had, any free time I had for my corporate gig, I was making something. It may
Okay.
not have been may not have been customer facing, but I was doing something. So because in my mind, in order to get to this point, you have to always put the reps in. So again, going back to that like sports mentality, right?
For
How are you
sure.
going to get how do you practice good free throws? Well, you show up to the court and you practice free throws until you can do it with your eyes closed, essentially. So it's kind of the same thing for me, and it took a lot of trial and error. I mean, it's it's bad. There were some bad projects. So let me just put it to you that way.
So what you're saying is if we had tried to buy some of your first projects, we maybe not
Oh,
buy another one.
I had people ask, and I would turn them down. I would say I don't because again, like you have to understand, like where I come from the customer service side of retail too, where it's like I want to make sure that this person is taken care of. One, because I want their future business. Two, because I get fulfillment from making sure this other person is happy with what they're getting. And three is just it's a pride thing. I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people don't have that these days. Not calling anyone out, but it's just like from my generation when I was in high school to now, it seems like the roles have kind of just like flip-flopped where people just want quick, cheap shortcut. And I'm like, yeah, that's good for some things, but like don't buy everything from Amazon. Like that's kind of like, I always tell people like if you want to buy a sewing machine, just go ahead and save up the money and get the good one because it's going to save you so much headache, from here on out. Now, some people don't have that luxury. That's a different story. But if you have the means, take your time with it. Like, don't try to rush to be the first one done because trust me, somebody else has already done it. Like, it's already been done. So,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you've got, the business basically launched from that class, right?
yep.
And and now it's been, call it 4 or 5 years that you've really been going at it full time, 5 or 6 really.
Yeah.
What has been one of your, or maybe a couple if you can't pick one, favorite projects that you've done?
I'd say it's always the ones that I do for like artists, but there are moments where I'm like, okay, I take personal pride in like doing ones for like I did a recent job or a recent project with Jay. I don't know if you're familiar with Jay, Fire Fridays, Jay
Oh,
Guidos, that's his last name.
100%.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Wait,
No, I
you did
figured you
the
would be.
Minnesota one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, personally, like, are they the coolest looking pair I've ever made? No, not necessarily, but it's not always about the looks, right? This is about the storytelling aspect too. So, there was a lot of back and forth between Jay and I, on that pair. And I even told him, I was like, there's two other individuals included with this who are some of his like friends and business. I don't know if business partners is the right word, but
Mhm.
they're partners in this project. And we hopped on a Zoom call, and the guys, I had a mock-up ready and everything. I treated them like I would any other like high-end client, customer, whatever you want to call them. I treat everybody the same because your story deserves to be told, and it needs to be told at a high caliber. And essentially, I showed them this mock-up and they were like losing their minds, dude. And I was like, this is like the simplest mock-up ever. But hey, if you guys like it, that's all that matters. Like, I want to make sure we're all good and you guys enjoy it. But that was a really fulfilling one because you made somebody else who didn't even know that this was possible made their mind open up and go, whoa, we could do like more of these. And I'm like, yeah, that's the goal, dude. Like, this is the teaser. Like, you should have seen all the other ideas I had lined up for this. Like, this is nothing compared to like what's going to happen next year, the year after that, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So those ones are really fun. But I guess if I had to give you like the layup answer for this, it would be the ones that I do with are you familiar with Summerfest, the festival up in
Oh my.
Milwaukee?
The
Yeah.
world's largest music festival.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone knows. Someone's gonna be
Absolutely.
like, these guys don't know what they're talking. I'm like, no, no, no. You don't know what you're talking about. Trust me. It is
Yeah.
the world's largest music festival, or it was at one point. It may not be anymore, but
But
they got in contact with me 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, from a project I did with the Brewers. And that's actually how I met Kari, Sneaker Fetish.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, this is how this all comes connected, by the way. Like, I wouldn't even be on Twitter if it wasn't for him, to be honest with you. So yeah, you wouldn't have this interview really if it weren't for the fact that David or Kari, was the one that set this up and get me into the Twitter space. But anyways, yeah, so Summerfest, we've done shoes for SZA, Kane Brown, Illenium, who else? Megan Thee Stallion. We were gonna do one for Lainey Wilson at one point. We were gonna do a cowgirl boot for her, but that fell through because the budget just wasn't matching up. So instead, we got to do a pair for Benson Boone, which
Oh,
is not a bad compromise. I'll take
no.
that. So, but that one was probably my favorite, the Benson Boone pair, because I had this crazy idea. So if you don't know who Benson is, go look him up. He's got he's a pop star essentially, but he's kind of an adrenaline junkie from what I can tell, and maybe not an adrenaline junkie, but the guy just likes action adventure sports and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, he's the type of dude that would love to go skydiving or something. So yeah, no, not for me. I'm not doing that. So, but I did some research and I was like, okay, he's got this thing for roller skates because like it's on one of his album covers, and I didn't know if that was just art or if he actually knows how to like skate. And so I looked it up, and he actually does know how to use inline skates as well as quad skates. And so I found this company in France that converts sneakers into like quad skates, but like you can take them on and off and like the flick of a wrist or whatever. Like, you can
Okay.
take them off like no problem. So,
And
and you
use
can
them
just
as
walk on them. Yeah,
okay.
just regular sneakers. Yeah, and you would just store your skates like in your backpack or whatever. And so I was like, "Yo, what if we did a pair of like Air Force Ones, but like attach the roller skates to the bottom of them?" And so that's what we did. But there's so many things that happened during that project that could have gone wrong. Like, I was I was stressing, dude. Like, it's one of those things where like my wife was like, "You gotta calm down," and I was like, "I can't, dude. Like, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna be so mad because this is the sick idea." So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you're dependent on somebody in another country
Oh,
making it, shipping
oh,
it to you. Is it going to arrive on time and as delivered, right, or as promised? Like,
yeah.
and then you've got to build your. So, did you have them build the lower and you build the upper, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I built the entire upper. So here's the way it works. So you have to go and buy a stock pair or retail pair, and then you tell them what pair you bought, and they have to verify whether or not because their process is like they don't share anything about it, obviously. It's their IP or whatever. So like
Yeah.
they have their own process, and I was like, I don't care about your process. Like, you guys do what you need to do. I just need to know if you can do an Air Force One. And they were like, yeah, 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 we can do that. I was like, all right,
Okay.
cool. So I bought the Air Force One, packaged them up, reshipped them back off into France. I did 1 day or I did like 2 day air shipping, which was stupid
Uh,
expensive. Coming like looking back at it, but I was like, I need these to get there. And so, because at this point we had been rushing up against time because this company just wasn't getting back to me. Come to find out, it turns out the reason why is because they were on holiday. So like they have like this like holiday during the summer where like they're not working for like straight up 3 weeks almost. And I'm
oh
like,
wow.
bro, like I've paid for this service. I've shipped the shoes out. I've tried to call the company, but it's weird because they have like two different numbers, and I kept calling the one that was supposed to be like their American number. And like, thankfully, by the grace of God and the fact that I have a stepsister who lives in Paris, I asked her, I FaceTimed her, and I said, "Hey, Sasha, do you know anything about this company? Because I'm starting to get vibes and they're not legit. Like,
Oh
but their social media is good. Like everything else was good, right? So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was like, this. I did my due diligence. I was like, all right, they're legit. Like, we'll be fine.
yeah,
And like, then I DM them. I DM them on Instagram. I'm like, guys, like, I know I'm a small account, and like, you guys have a ton of followers, but like, I am doing these for Benson Boone. I'm not even supposed to tell you that because I signed a contract saying I couldn't tell anybody who this is for. But like, I just need y'all to know the urgency of this.
yeah.
And for whatever reason, they responded to that. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we can get these done in time." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Okay, cool." So they arrived like 3 days before. So I sent them the shoes, but I can go ahead and make the upper.
Yeah.
I just can't. I won't have a sole to put on afterwards.
Right.
So, because trying to explain this to somebody in the first place is already confusing. Imagine trying to explain this to somebody who doesn't like English is not their first language, and I don't speak French. So, like, trying to explain this to someone over there is like, who's this crazy American dude calling us right now? Like, this makes no sense.
Right.
And they looked at my Instagram page and they were like, "Oh, we get what you do now." And I was like, "Yeah, so like work with me. Like can we work on this cuz I want to give you guys due diligence or I want to give you guys your due credit too and everything." And they were like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah, for sure. Tag us in the post or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, of course I'll do that." And yeah, luckily it worked out. Once I got the skates back, I took the skates off because it was great that you could take them off, and then I separated the uppers from the soles.
Yeah.
Um, you had to be real careful with that though, because Air Force One soles are really, really, really thin on like the sidewalls. So the part that actually like let me show
It
you.
goes up around
So
the kind of boot.
like
Yeah, yeah,
like that area right there is like really, really thin.
yeah.
And it's thinner than like Dunks or Jordans. And so like when you take it off, you have to be really careful because if you try and force it, you'll actually end up ripping that part of the sole off. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So so
So now you
like
got to skate
I
and
had 3 days to
you
like
ruin it.
plan how I was going to do this because all I
Yeah.
needed to do was just take the soles off and put the soles on the new shoe, which putting the soles on the new shoe was not an issue. It was just getting them off of the old ones because I was like, I don't want to damage anything. And lo
Yeah.
and behold, we did it. And luckily, they were actually a size 10, which is my size. So I actually tested them out like in my studio. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, obviously I'm gonna test these out. I'm not gonna about to just like drop these off to Summerfest and be like, yo, they should work.
Good
But no,
luck.
I tested it out and like I got a chance to do it and he got to see them and everything and he said they were amazing. He loved them. It was just a crazy idea and I was like, good. I'm glad he got that because you never know with these types of artist gifting what you're gonna get. Like
Yeah.
it sounds great, like getting a chance to, provide these to clients like himself or whatever, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of times that I don't think a lot of people understand just how much they're like those types of artists, their lives are kind of controlled, like outside of their own like free will, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like it's something I would wish on never no one to be honest with you. I remember Kane Brown. He was coming to Summerfest. He wasn't there because for those who aren't familiar, Summerfest, it's like they've set it up now to where it's I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, nothing on Sunday, and that's 3 weeks back to back.
Right.
But because it's a festival and it's not a full-on concert for like one specific artist, it's a rolling list of artists who are coming in and out of the festival. So like Benson or like SZA or whoever, they're only going to be there for like not even a day. They'll be there maybe for like that one concert day, and then they're out of there because they got to go to another event or another thing or whatever.
Right.
And so Kane, he was having his I think third or fourth child. I think it was his third child.
Oh.
um yeah, his wife had gone into labor, or like, no, I'm sorry, she already gave birth, and she was actually she was trying to remember. They were in Nashville, and I had been talking to my contacts at Summerfest and said, "Is he still like planning on like coming? Because I mean, I don't have any issues with him not showing up. I mean, that's his child. Like, you got to be there for your child, obviously." And they're like, "No, no, no. He said he's coming." And I'm like, "Okay." So I fly there 2 days before his concert. He gets in the day of his concert, and keep in mind, this is a little subplot, but on his shoes, I have them on my Instagram somewhere, but on his shoes, he had a pair of Air Jordan 1 highs. You know where the wings are on like Air Jordan 1s? I don't have a high
Yeah,
with me right now.
on like the
But
collar up near the
yeah,
top.
yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
like on the on the off-white pairs, they have the 85 stamped in the
Inside.
inside of the wings, so you
Yep.
wouldn't see it unless it's flapped open. Well, with his, we did his daughter, I think it was his daughter, his other, I think he has 2 kids. His daughter, his other kid's name, I don't remember if it's a boy or a girl, and then Caitlin, which is his wife. And
Okay.
then the 4th wing, I left blank because it was going to be his his newborn. But the problem is I didn't know the name.
Okay.
So I flew to Milwaukee with these shoes in hand with 1 wing blank
Yeah.
and not knowing if he was going to show up. And when I got there, I actually went to my old work that I used to work at. They do jersey printing, like custom jersey printing, so they had vinyl and everything, and I had good relations still with them. And they were
Yeah.
like, I was like, "Yo, he just told us his son's name. Like, can we get this like printed on there? Like,
Like
because I
now.
have to give these to him today." And
Yeah.
they were like, "Yeah, we can do it." And so we were able to get his name on there. I didn't even tell the Summerfest folks about it. So they didn't even see that until they actually unboxed it. And they were like, "What? How did you figure out his name?" I was just like, "Well, I don't know, man. I just have my ways. I just have my ways."
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, those are fun because of the stories that go behind them, I would say, almost more than the designs. So sorry to stray so far away from your original question, but yeah.
No, no, quite all right. Like these are the things that we want to hear and want to learn about. That is absolutely fantastic. So,
Yeah,
um, and maybe I'm gonna skip around. I had some
sure.
questions
Yeah,
lined
you
up,
can
but
hit all over the place. Yeah, go for
right,
it.
right. So, that talks into the experience. So I know we're recording this
Mhm.
on Sunday after Thanksgiving. By
Yep.
the time this goes live, Cyber Monday will be gone, and people can get the blacked out off white one.
Yeah,
And so for those that are getting that, or anybody that's going to commission you for a shoe in the future, right?
yeah.
What is that experience going to be like for them?
Yeah, so I mean, I really try to make it personable as much as possible. It's a little tougher to do when you have like a Black Friday shoe like what I just came out with.
Yeah.
But that's why if you see every tweet that I came out with about that was if you have questions, seriously, like let's talk about it because I want to make sure you completely understand what you're buying, how you're going to get it, what's the timeline, blah blah blah. All the stuff that you would want to know when you're spending that kind of money on a product. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, that's to me, that's not a cheap amount of money. Anything above, well, even nowadays, $200 is a lot of money. So yes, anything basically above $100 is a lot of money.
Right.
Um, and for me personally, because it's just my business, I know I say we a lot when I refer to my business and what I do, but I only say that because it sounds more professional. And honestly, it really is just me. Although 2026, keep an eye out. That might change actually. We'll
Well,
we'll talk about we'll talk about that a little later.
and if you're in some of the spaces you've been in, yeah, I think we is okay because of
Yeah.
some of the relationships that you've created to help you elevate some of your customers that you've talked about in the,
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got great business partners, which I do want to highlight some of them in this, since this is a platform. I want to elevate them as well, because I think, what is that saying? Higher tides raise all ships or raise all boats. That's kind
right.
of my mentality when it comes to this stuff. But going back to what you were saying, I'm sorry. What was the question one more time when it comes to
Just the
doing?
experience when working
Yeah.
with you.
So for me, it's always clear cut communication. That's really honestly almost more important. And honestly, at bare minimum, that's all you need to do. Especially when like the bar is set so low by retailers and like people who aren't in customs. Like look at anything you bought, like the Travis Scott stuff. Like whenever you buy merch from a Travis Scott drop, like bro, and we've all been there. It's like, all right, you got my money. Where's my product? Like, I know it said 10 to 12 weeks, but I've gotten radio silence from you guys. And
Right.
like,
Right.
I don't know about you, but I get super anxious whenever I spend any type of money, and like I'm like, okay, like what's the protocol here? Like, are you guys gonna let me know like when it's almost ready, or like what's the deal? So
Right.
one, it's clear cut communication. That's
Okay.
that's as simple as it is. It is so much more respected, I feel like, by customers because now like for example, like I put in there for the Black Friday thing, like it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get these done. And it wouldn't have been that long if it was just one person buying one pair, but like I only have two left now. So
Okay.
sell-through rate has been great on those for only five
Fantastic.
pairs available. It was better than what I was expecting, so I can't complain about that. But my goal is to get these out before Christmas. I didn't want to promise that, but it's that age old saying of under promise over deliver. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's kind of the goal. But as far as like an unboxing experience too, like a hands-on experience, you've kind of caught me at a weird time because I want to find a good box manufacturer to do my own boxes. I don't want to keep using like the stock Nike boxes and whatnot like that. I've done nicer displays, but like
Mhm.
it's just tough when when you get into acrylics and plastics, you're spending so much money. At that point, I'd have to increase the price of the shoes just to cover that. So
Yeah.
right now I'm currently in the market for looking to get kind of more custom corrugated boxes, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
Nothing crazy, but just something that kind of, again, elevates the experience. Make sure you know what you're getting is coming directly from S2S Creations. I do actually include a little card in there, a thank you card and a care card. It kind of explains like how the product's going to wear over time. I do also offer a kind of a limited warranty. Like if something happens, you can send them back free of charge and I'll fix it for you.
Okay.
Like nothing's gonna like I don't know any customizer that actually offers that outright, but
I've
I
never heard.
do make sure like I mean, knock on wood, I've never had that happen where someone has had to send me something back. But if I ever did, trust me, it's going to be done right and it's going to make sure that it goes through all the correct protocol to make sure it fits what you're buying and what I'm selling. So it's again, that's the transparency part. Um, but as far as an unboxing experience goes, yeah, I mean, I want them to be floored. I want them to be wowed when they open the box and go, "Holy crap!" Like the pictures were great, but like this is something different. And I think these Black Friday ones definitely do that. Because don't get me wrong, I think the pictures were great. But I'm also like, I have the pair in hand, and I'm like, yeah, these are nice. These are nice. So
Well, uh, John Geiger, if you happen to be watching this, uh, send Brandon a note because if you've seen the boxes for his 005s,
oh yeah,
those are cool. So, if nothing else, like where can you look to try to create something, right? That's what you're
yeah.
looking for. Who
I
do
think
you
the
need to
biggest
talk to for that?
I think the biggest problem, like, because I know these avenues of where to go, but the problem is like it's always the quantity count. Like, I'm not selling 250 pairs of shoes a year, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, if I have to spend the money to do it, and this year has been our best year in terms of business, which is crazy because the economy right now is horrible. Like, I don't care who
Yeah.
you are, like, it's not great for anyone, unless you're, I guess, Elon Musk maybe. But yeah. So, anyways, I was like, okay. I know my quantity counts are going to be very, very minimal, which means I'm probably going to end up spending a decent amount of money, which again, I don't have an issue with, because I need write-offs anyways. But it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's time. I need to up the game. It needs to get better.
Nice.
Because that's the first thing you see when you get something
Right.
from, me is the box. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So speaking of design, product, the box even, but going back to the shoes, what are some of maybe your favorite and least favorite materials to work with?
Oh man, least favorite out the gate, patent. Absolutely hate it. Absolutely
What
despise
is it
patent
about
leather.
that?
It's not designed to be worked with. Like it's
Okay.
so do you know why patent leather was created?
No clue.
Okay, so patent leather was created because somebody got upset because their leather shoe got stained or their leather bag kept getting stained, or it would crack or peel or whatever. So
Mhm.
someone got the bright idea. Let's just put a nice thick coat of polyurethane or whatever on top of it, a clear coat.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, it looks great. I'm not arguing that, but working with it, oh my God. you will never, unfortunately, you'll never see a pair of Air Jordan 11s use patent leather on my builds. It just won't
Okay.
happen. I'm sorry, guys. Like it's, and I know you don't own a pair of 11s. I don't think I was watching the key interview the other day.
Yep. Yep. No,
So
don't have any yet.
yeah, I don't blame you. It's an expensive shoe, first off, but yeah, it's you know, patent leather is just not the most fun. Can you work with it? Yes, but specifically when you're going around like the toe area, like when you have to wrap patent leather around a last like this, it
Yeah.
makes it so difficult to get these wrinkles up here in this area out. Like it's almost impossible. Um, but if someone really, really wants it, I will do my best to challenge myself, like I told you before, and make it happen. I just there's so many better choices in my mind too. Like when it comes to leather, like, and when I say better, I don't mean better quality. I just mean like there's so much cooler leather that you can choose from out there. Like patent is very, if you're gonna go custom, if you're gonna spend $1,200 with me, come on. Well, we can do better. We can do better than
Push the
that.
envelope.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like if we're gonna go big, we're gonna go big. Like
Okay.
we ain't gonna do something basic.
Yeah.
At least I try to tell people, remember what you're spending your money on here. It's one of one. So you do what you want to do with it, but just giving you all the options so that you can make a good choice that you're gonna be happy with. Um, Favorite material though is suede by far, just because of its versatility. It's so easy to work with, and it gives that idea of like luxury, right? But what's funny is, and I don't know if you were tuned in. I think you were tuned into the quality talk we had with Craig on his
Yep.
space. But like suede is like it's like peasant leather, I call it. Like it's not the nicest leather on the planet. Like suede is a bunch of fibers basically mashed together. It's not even like it's you can't just get suede from an animal. Like it's not like that. Like you don't just cut off the skin and tan it and whatnot, and that's suede. That's not how that works. So it cracks me up because everyone gasses up suede like it's amazing. And I'm like, I mean it is. The capabilities are amazing, but in terms of like quality compared to like full grain leather, it's not anything to write home about,
Okay.
it's good stuff. But you can do stuff like this. Like this is like sparkle suede. I wish I would have been able to send you these, but it looks like sparkle leather, right?
It
And
does.
it doesn't flake off at all.
Okay.
So you'll
So I'm not
s-
gonna have
you'll
glitter
s-
all over my house.
nope. That's the beauty of it. It's amazing. I'm actually going to be using this on a holiday pair of 11s, which I might have teased earlier. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's suede is one of my favorite materials. I would say alligator is my next favorite. Alligator, American alligator is by far the best leather to work with because of the characteristics, the quality of it. Um, you got to remember alligators. So this is the part that people usually forget about when they think about exotic leathers.
Hmm.
When you're buying an exotic leather, you're buying like years of life that an animal has gone through, right? So like when you try and find one that doesn't have as many scars on it, right? Different grades of leather. So the different grades, I'll nerd out here a little bit, but there's like grade 5, grade 4, which is like the lowest grade, and then there's 3-2, which is mid grade, and then there's like uh they call it 2-1. It's not like 1-0, but 2-1 is like what I aim for because it's good for footwear. You can probably get away with some wallets for 4 or 5. It doesn't mean that it's going to deteriorate more quickly. It's more so about how many blemishes are on it, or how much usable area, how much yield can you get out of a piece.
Got it.
So that's the part that most people confuse when it comes to grades of leather like that. But alligator, man, whew, it's such a fun leather to work with. There's so much you can do with it, and it's extremely durable.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And then, so I'll make sure if I'm gonna do one, I'll get a Gucci suit to go with my gator boots.
Oh my goodness. Yes, do that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So you talked about, your favorite, least favorite, but is there a material or a design element that you haven't used yet that you have an idea for, and you're like, I'm waiting for the right custom, and we're gonna use this.
Yeah, there is. This is more on the lines of innovation than it is just buying material off the rack because
Okay.
when the longer you do this, right? You get to a point where you're like, okay, I've seen all the bells and whistles. I've seen all the cool stuff. Show me
Yeah.
the stuff that doesn't exist yet. Show me the
Okay.
stuff that you can't get your hands on. You can't just go and buy, whether you're a
Okay.
business or an individual. So I work with a lady out in Bend, Oregon. Her name is Katie. She's only on Instagram, I believe. I don't believe she has a Twitter or X account. It's just not her. It's not her vibe.
Okay.
But she's a master leather crafter and dyer. So when I say dyer, I mean like she's actually dyeing leather. But she has been doing this for almost 20 years now. Um, in fact, she's so damn good at dyeing leather that tanneries have asked her for her methods and her techniques,
Oh wow.
and she said no. So she is an artist in my opinion,
Okay.
meaning like she doesn't care if you're uh the president of the United States, Jesus reincarnate, or whoever. Like, it doesn't matter who you are to her, and it doesn't matter how much money you've got. As long as
Okay.
you let her create, she will make you something that I know that you would like. So
Mhm.
she and I collaborate quite a bit, and I'm glad you asked this because I brought an example. So I will build the sneakers out of what's called veg tan leather, just a very plain, like looks like this actually. This is veg tan. So ignore the stamp, but just look at the color. So that's veg
Yeah.
tan.
Very
So
natural, neutral color.
yeah, you'll see it used in like holster making or like belts or like the Louis Vuitton handles on the bags.
Yeah.
That's that's veg tan. Veg tan's extremely versatile. You can do so many different things with it. Like, you can wet mold it to create like the Air Yeezy spine, which is what I did here.
Oh. Okay.
So the three-dimensional spine right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and then you can also tattoo it. So
Get out of
yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, these are crazy,
Oh,
right?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, did you have a
So
tattoo artist
Katie did this.
work with? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
she taught herself how to tattoo leather, of course, because she's that.
Oh, of course. Why
And
not?
yeah, casual. And
Yeah.
I sent her a blank, like, basically it was this color. This shoe was this color, and it had
Wow.
nothing else on it. It was just a regular Air Jordan 1 low. That's it. Because I don't even know if you can see the swoosh. You can probably see it now because it's, yeah, there you
Oh,
go. The
there it
light.
is. Yep.
Yep. So pretty crazy. You can't see
Oh,
it from here. Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
So essentially, yeah, this was a pair done for me, because I needed to have a pair I could show off at like expos or whatever,
Yeah.
and like show clients that were interested in wanting some more of this type of work. Um, and these are 100% durable. Like, you can't scratch that off.
It's
You
not
can't do
paint,
anything
it's
to it.
in the
No, no,
leather.
no, it's dye. Yeah, it's dye.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, these are pretty wild. But
That is incredible.
yeah, this was done for Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. I'm
Yeah.
half Filipino, part Chinese as well.
Oh, okay.
And Katie knew that, and she was like, "Have you ever done anything like for your own like heritage?" And I was like, "Not really. Like, I tend to tell other people's stories, so no, I
Yeah.
don't really get the chance to tell my story." Um,
Sure.
Not that I care that much. It's more so just about like, she was like, "Well, you gotta have something to treat yourself." And I was like, "Okay, what do you have in mind?" She was like, "Well, just send me a pair of whatever shoes you want to do, and we'll go from there. And it'll be Chinese New Year themed." I'm like, "Okay." So I sent her that pair, and about a week or two later, she sent me these back without even showing me pictures, without even telling me anything about the actual sneakers until I got them in hand. And so I did the unboxing, and I almost cried, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was like, I was like,
Alright.
"Oh my god, these are insane." Like, okay, and then I was like, "But you gotta tell me, what's the story behind these?" Because they're actually mismatched. So this pair, you'll notice the snake is actually more like a Mesoamerican, like, kind of.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. The other one, I should have brought the other one. I don't know why I didn't, but the other one is an Asian inspired like snake.
Okay,
So they're very reminiscent of each other, but the faces are completely different.
okay.
So, and I have that on my Instagram too. I think I might have even tweeted it out once, but it's to represent my dual heritage of being like American, but also being, Chinese, and Filipino. So
Yeah, yeah.
the colors of the shoe represent like the gold, for example, is gold, in this kind of maroon red color is kind of
Uh-huh.
reminiscent of the red and gold used in Chinese New Year and everything like that. It's a more muted tone because I told her, I was like, whatever you make me, just make sure it's more muted because I don't wear super flashy shoes typically. Um, but she was like, okay, cool, I got that. So you'll notice though that you see like the darker parts that are
Yep.
like brown or black, that
Yep.
represents a tree. And the tree that it represents is called the Nara tree, which is the national tree of the Philippines. And so this tree has these green leaves, right, that fall. And when they fall and hit the ground, they turn into these gold leaves right here that you see sprinkled throughout the entire design of the upper. So that is to represent my Filipino heritage, and showcase like this is like your
Wow.
actual heritage, like your tree, your family tree, so to speak,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I was like, bro, that is some next level storytelling. I was like, that is insane. I don't think
Right?
I ever would have thought of that. So
No,
yeah,
that's
it was pretty
incredible.
crazy.
How thoughtful of her.
I
Do
know.
you what's her Instagram? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's KNM dot leathers. And also I believe Elemental Leathers. If you just type that in, and honestly, you could go to like my people that I follow, even
Nice.
some posts that I've done. I tag her and we co-post and all that stuff. So definitely go follow her, guys. Like
All
she
right,
doesn't
I'm
just do
gonna put them
shoes.
on the screen. I'm gonna tag her down below. Go follow
Yes.
her because
Yes.
that is incredible work right there. That's
Yes. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. I mean, she does something that's she it's like every time, man. We talk a lot and we've never met in person. Keep this in mind. We have never met once in person. And
Oh
I'm
wow.
gonna make that a point where one day I will go to Oregon and meet her.
There you go.
But it's just one of those things where it's like she sees things in ways that no other people can. And
That's
one thing I
incredible.
will say, if anyone's interested in wanting to get a pair with her, it is expensive, don't get me wrong, but obviously you can see what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Not only that, I am the only person that does shoes that she will work with. She won't work
Oh,
with any other shoemakers. She won't. And that's not because I've asked her to. It's part of her, it's part of it is because she really liked the way I asked about wanting to work with her. Because there's a lot of people in the industry that will just ask you how much for this, and they don't care to actually know how it's done. Or like they won't ask you for your opinion on certain art pieces. I
okay.
see it more as a collaborative effort because like I told her, I'm like, we are business partners. Like the word partner, that holds a lot of weight. That's not just because it sounds cool, right? No, it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what do you bring to the table,
Okay.
so that we can both kind of create something completely different than what most people can offer. So if somebody wants something with her, you're going to be buying the shoes from me anyways. So it's you won't find anybody else that can do what she does. There's imitators, but she blocks every single one of them. So it's kind of funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, hey, thanks for showing that. Are there any
yeah.
others that you have handy that
Yeah,
you could show that kind of gives an idea of kind of your
I
work?
can yeah, I can show some of just the different like materials I've worked with and different silhouettes as well as like other services outside of just doing like a one of one build like this.
Oh, sure.
So this is like a Samba. This is a one of one build. So this is a bespoke model right here.
Okay.
But this uses like this like crazy hairy suede on the upper.
Yep. That
And then
reminds me of the Juan Volume 3 with that suede.
a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So so yeah, I don't remember when I made these. These were done a while ago though. But yeah, I think I just like the way these colors looked and I was like, I gotta put this on a shoe. So there's no story behind this one. It just kind of reminded me of like the way of water. Like I don't know why, but it just like kind of looks like something like that.
Okay.
So that's a one of one build. Here is something a bit different. So this was a real retail pair of like canaries, but I ended up putting a different swoosh on there. Instead of like the royal blue, somebody wanted like the UNC blue. So I
Oh,
took the swooshes off and just put a UNC blue swoosh on there instead.
oh,
So that's just called like a swoosh swap or something like that. But
yeah.
that is a custom that I do offer.
Okay.
And it's one so simple. It's a really easy one. And something like this isn't going to cost you. It's not going to break the bank, so to speak. You just got to obviously provide me with the sneaker itself.
Yeah.
But these are sewn in there completely, so it's not coming off or anything like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
And then here's another one. These are Birkenstocks. So yep. Birkenstocks are a little different. Like most people don't think about Birkenstocks, but I'm using actual Birkenstock parts, which is really interesting because you can't really
Okay.
always get those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but these were just done to showcase like what you can do and what is available.
Okay.
Um, and then the very last one is, well, I'll just show both of these. Air Yeezy 2s, you kind of saw this one already, but this is not a custom you see very often.
Okay.
So, it's still got the, elastic, or not elastic, but the Velcro strap.
Yeah.
Nice little mini swoosh on there. This is suede technically. So,
Okay.
yeah, this was a fun project. If you go on my Instagram, I did a whole like breakdown of how I did this. I used like a vacuum air like an air vacuum like food vacuum thingy. I forget what they're called. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
I had to basically mold the leather to that shape. Um,
Yeah.
and then just a pair of dunks. So, yep, this is crocodile right here.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, those are my services outside of teaching classes.
Okay. Nice. Nice. And how often do you teach classes?
It's pretty much it's like I try to at least get one person a quarter, just because
Okay.
I am pretty busy with other projects, but like
Sure.
I want
Sure.
to get more into the teaching because I think I get now more fulfillment from that than I do some of the shoemaking stuff.
Okay.
Because I love seeing someone really try something different and give their all. And it may
Mhm.
not look great their first time, but I always tell them like, bro, here's my first shoe. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like I have a saying in my class, and I'll use it sparingly depending on who the audience is, but like I always say, you're gonna F up, but you're gonna learn so much more from that than you will ever learn from me,
Yeah.
like in anybody. Because in life, that's how you learn how to do things. I
Mhm.
mean, you're not gonna learn until you really truly mess up, and then you're like, all right, I know what not to do. So,
Right.
it's
Right.
just one of those things where you got to let go of that concept. And I've had people that I've taught that are like super perfectionist. Like my brother, he's
Okay.
super anal about how he wants things done, right? But I'm like Riley, like it's not gonna be like that in life, man. Like, you're gonna get hit with some hurdles, and you're gonna have to figure out how am I gonna overcome this. And then when you do, it's like he did that. Like he built his own shoe. That's crazy. Like
That's
think about that.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've gone from doing some painting to learning how to make your own customs to teaching
Yeah.
people. You're teasing, maybe putting your own line out there. Talk to us a little
uh
bit about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to come out with one last year, but when
Okay.
the tariffs got announced and everything, I got a little shy of that. And at the
Okay.
same time, I was still trying to grow my business here in the Triangle area and the Raleigh area.
Yeah.
And it's a different hat that you have to wear when you want to go into doing your own business, like for your own independent white label or just your own independent shoe brand. It's like completely different. It's not the same. You can't approach it the same. So for me, like I know the factories, I know where to go, I know where I want to get stuff done at, I know the final
Okay.
cost of what it would all be. It's more or less just like I need to build the brand first because even though I have all this knowledge of how to go out and do this, I need to build something that people can relate to in order for it to sell through. Because I don't know, you probably don't know this either. Maybe you do, because I've probably said it in some spaces, but I worked in retail for 15 years as not just a sales associate, but also someone who ran several stores at simultaneously, but also was a buyer.
Okay.
So that's my extent of working with the brands in terms of a corporate standpoint. So, I would have to help buy for the holiday season or like, World Cup and stuff like that. Cause this was mainly around like soccer, right? Which is already a
Yeah.
really niche business in the United States. So, for me, I know what it takes to have to get people to buy things in this market.
Mhm.
Probably better than most people do. And it's kind of scary because I know for a fact in order for me to not even make money, but just like break even and do what I need to do with the level of quality that I want, the shoe's gonna have to sell for at least 250 a piece. And maybe that's a slightly inflated price, I'll be honest, because I just need to have it be 250 just to see like what that would look like.
Okay.
But I truly believe that if the messaging and the looks are there,
Mhm.
you have a you kind of have a winning recipe kind of ready to go. So it's one of those things where again I want to make sure I do the steps correctly and not just go full-fledged into production without actually having a message to share. Because if you look at like Juan's a great example actually. Juan knows what he's trying to do, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at his brand, you look at his messaging, you look at him as a person, you can tell, okay, there's a clear cut message here that he's trying to tell. There's a story he's trying to tell.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, And it may not relate to everybody, but the fact that he's as genuine a person as he is
Mhm.
definitely helps with that. So I'm taking little bits and pieces from him and bits and pieces from John that I've seen that I like. Because I'll be honest, not all of John's stuff I like in terms of like would I wear it personally? No, but
No.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Other people like it, and
Right.
I'm just curious to see like because their brands are so different. Like it's funny that they're actually like really good friends from what it seems like. I don't know if they are, but it seems like they're really good friends. But their
Yeah.
brands couldn't be any different. Like it's almost completely separate outside of it just being both about sneakers. Whereas John, unless he has like a collaboration or something like that, I don't I personally don't see there like being a storytelling. Like I don't see John putting his own life experiences into his shoes in terms of like the materials and the colorways. I could be wrong on some of that because I don't keep up with every single John Geiger launch.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying what it looks like from my perspective. But it doesn't matter. Again, it's what works for him, and I think he
Right.
plays up the visuals and the materials very well. I think
Excellent.
he has an eye for that stuff. Like there's no doubt about it, obviously.
Right.
So my goal would be to kind of merge those two processes of thought into one cohesive brand that would fall under mine. I do have a name for the company already. I'll tell you what it is. It's called Supper Club. And I don't know if you're familiar with what a supper club is,
Well,
but
they're huge in this area of the country, especially up in Wisconsin. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what most
So
people do in on Friday nights.
yeah, yeah. So Supper Club Studios, that's actually the full name. I do have an Instagram for it, but I haven't really posted much.
Okay.
But Supper Club Studios, what I'm doing, this is my blueprint, right? Rough blueprint. I'm giving myself kind of a year to and it's a long time, but I'm doing it because I want to do it the right way. I don't want to rush into this. Like I said before, I want to world build. I want to build something that other people can relate to, and can look at and go, you know what? I kind of like that. I kind of want to get into that. I don't know what it's about, but it's for everyone. And that's kind of like, what I'm trying to make this about because supper clubs traditionally, like in the Midwest, especially in Wisconsin, they're almost like a cult thing. Not cult in a bad way, but like a cult following. Like you don't really hear about them outside of the Midwest. But I think supper clubs are a place for community. And if there's anything you know about me, or if there's anything I want you to know about me, is that I want to find ways to bring something back to the community, whether that be my community back up in Wisconsin, whether that be the community on X, whether that be the community in Raleigh, doesn't matter. But it needs to feel something where you can come to the table and discuss multiple different things. And I want this to truly be more than just sneakers. I know it sounds super cliche, but I really do. I'm a guy that likes the story a bit more than the looks of a shoe. But I know that the shoe has to look
I'm
good in order for it to sell. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good story. Yeah, yeah. The shoe can't be completely horrible,
Yeah.
but a good story. I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the trifecta is not in any particular order: looks, story, and then quality. Those three things. If you can do those three things, or even just two of those three things, you're gonna have a decent sell through in terms of what you're gonna be, offering. Ideally, I'd like to drop the price down to like what John is at with that 190, maybe even 180. That would be the sweet spot. But it just depends on the final design and everything. And I have a way different way of doing this than probably Juan or John have because I don't know if they have the knowledge for it. I haven't seen where they've shown, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. But I actually know how to like pattern out my own sneaker, right? So like I could actually make my own prototypes here in the US.
Mm,
Obviously it's just by me. It's not done by like a mass production factory, but I've done prototypes before for a different
yeah.
brand that I wasn't wanting to do a year ago. And I'll show you what a pattern looks like. I actually brought one. So this is a pattern for like a pair of Nikes. So the way it works, I'll give a little in-depth process here. So you have what's called a shoe last, which is what this guy is. So
Okay.
John and Juan's shoes are all built off of a last. It's their own custom last or stock
Yeah.
last, whatever they have access to. Then you would tape it up using masking tape, right? And then you have your soles, and you would kind of draw that. It's called a bite line, which is where the upper meets the midsole. So you would
Okay.
draw the bite line. So you have a reference point. And there's other reference points on here. I'm not going to go into that, but you basically have reference points to show you where the ankle would sit and like how high up the heel would go.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you take it off, you flay it or splay it out on cardstock, then you cut out a pattern, and essentially it will look like this.
Okay.
So this is obviously for like an Air Force One, but it's modified. This is
Mhm.
for a completely different build, but yeah, it's 2D. But then you would trace that on paper or leather, and then you cut it out, and then you have your pieces for your upper.
Okay.
Now, how they do it in factories is not like that at all. That's old school method. That's like draconian method of like how to come up with a sneaker pattern.
Okay.
They have CAD programs and probably AI now that can do all this. But with John's shoes, like if he's using knit, you can't really pattern that out because knit is so stretchy compared to leather that it just isn't the same. So my
Yeah.
guess is they've just engineered that with a 3D engineering like knit pattern. If I had to guess, that's really nerding out on it. Sorry, but like I figured this is something you'd probably want to know because like most people don't show this process.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's cool.
but my idea was I make a finalized pattern here, so that way I don't have to hire out a designer or something like that. And
Mhm.
then I can also say I kind of made it myself, and then I'll send it off to the factory. And the factory can do whatever they want with the pattern. They're going to change it anyways to be more modernized and fit the standards that the factory wants to work on, which is
Sure.
fine. I just want to give them that. Hey, this is the general idea. Let's push this out and see how far we can go with it. If it
Yeah.
works, it works. If it doesn't work, no big deal. We'll pivot and figure something else out. But yeah, so Supper Club Studios, look for it. It's I would
We'll keep
love
an
for
eye.
it to become more of a thing. Yeah.
Go back just for a moment, and you talked about your work history and being a buyer.
Yeah.
Do you think that knowledge is in a way holding you back because somebody without that knowledge, they're going to go in with blind ignorance and say, and maybe they fail and that's okay, but they're just going to say, yeah, I can do this, where you have all this knowledge and you're like, no, I can't do this. And because I know what it's going to take to make it work.
I think it's more of an idea of like I again, it goes back to like I do really want to solidify what the messaging and the brand actually is. So that way the correct buyers who are informed, like I'd rather have put it to you this way. Let's say I launch a shoe, right? I come out with a shoe, let's do the storytelling, do the branding, all that stuff.
Yep.
But let's say only 10 people see it or hear about it, but 10 of them also buy it versus 10,000 see it and only no one buys it. I'd rather those 10 people that actually get the message and and spent the money. I'd rather have those customers. That's how I've been with my custom business. It's the exact same. Like if you look at my social, I don't have a huge following. I only have about 4,700 followers on Instagram. That's my largest following. And like the fact that I've been able to get this far and sustain my business as long as I've been able to sustain it, and also get to have these incredible opportunities that I've gotten to work with artists and athletes and all that stuff. That's great, but like I want to make sure like people know what they're getting when they work with S2S Creations or they work with Supper Club Studios or they just work with me in general as someone who could help advise someone going through that process. But I think it definitely hinders the instinct of like, hey, I'm just gonna do this. Screw
Yeah.
it. Because I've had moments like that where I'm like this Black Friday shoe that I came out with. That was totally
Yeah.
instinctual. That was not planned. I made that shoe in 2 days. That's why I said I was like, I'm not anticipating selling this, but you know what? I put up a visual on social media, on my Twitter and my Instagram. Two sales from Twitter, one sale from Instagram. So I'm fine with that. With it like a 60% sell through, that's not bad at all. I'll take that any day of the week. Um, and I want that same vibe to carry over into the independent industry. But I also it's one of those things where like I have to be very cognitive of how I split my time. And I've alluded to it earlier in the podcast where we talked about 2026 and what that has in store for my business for S2S Creations. So I'm going to be partnering up with a local artist officially. She and her name's Karina. I don't think she's on Twitter, but she's on Instagram, and I'll share that with you later. But basically, she's more hands on with the painting.
Okay.
But she was my first student that I taught in North Carolina when I came back, like how to deconstruct and reconstruct. She
Okay.
fell in love with it, and we've stayed in touch since then. And it's just been, you know, when you work with someone and you're like, this person gets it. Like,
Mhm.
there's no, you guys are almost on the same wavelength. She and
Yeah.
I, same wavelength, and we're in similar positions in our careers. She's a little bit I am, but I told her I was like, the only way that we can continue doing this is to work together because no one can do this on their own. It's funny because all these people think about like Dom and whatnot, and he did this on. No, he didn't. Dom didn't do this on his own. He did a lot of the heavy lifting, but he didn't do this on his own. He had a huge financial backer first off,
Yeah.
which we do not have. We don't have that luxury. If I did, I probably wouldn't be talking about customs right now. I'd be doing my own independent, label or whatever. But
Yeah.
and that's not to take anything away from what he's done. I don't want to ever take away from that man because he did teach me a lot, when we first got started. But I do want to say, like, this is not a business for people who think that they're going to get rich quick. That's not what this is for, whether it's customs or whether it's independent. And Juan will tell you that. John will both tell you that. You'll have maybe moments where it's like, okay, like I made $8,000 in one weekend. That sounds great, but how are you going to do that the next weekend and the following weekend? How are you going to take care of overhead and all that other stuff you got to worry about? So having another person come on board is something that I was very hesitant about when I first got started because there's a lot of insecurities I think you battle with when you first open up your own business and like you don't know what you're doing, but you don't want to lose what you have.
Right.
But it takes a little bit of opening up and being vulnerable and being honest and finding somebody that you can sit there and go, you know what? I trust that person and they trust me back. And I think we can make this work if we are transparent with each other. See how it goes back to transparency?
Yeah.
so
Okay.
so yeah, I think she and I have a lot in store for next year. We want to really push the classes, like not just in footwear. We're getting into small leather goods too. I do like
Oh,
passport holders, wallets. Yeah. So that's why I didn't name the business like S2S Creations Footwear or anything with footwear because everything we make is a creation. It can be used in any capacity. So, it's just one of those things where I didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves just to footwear.
okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, getting kind of near the end, but
Yeah.
is there anyone that you haven't collaborated with that you really want to?
I mean, as far as like celebrities go or whatever like that because I separate this into like different categories but like for
Yeah.
for celebrities like I would love to make a pair of shoes for Messi.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Barcelona fan. I'm a Messi fan. Like I've seen him play. I've had the opportunity to see him play twice. So it's just been one of those things where I would love to make a pair of shoes for him. But him and Giannis, actually, let me rephrase. I would definitely do Giannis too. Giannis is one of those.
Okay.
I know his shoe size, so it's one of those where I'm like, I might just make him a pair and send it to his. He has a store in Milwaukee. I don't know if you've seen it, but he
No.
does stop under that store every now and then. If you're ever in the Milwaukee area, you should go check it out. It's right next to the stadium. It's actually really
Okay.
cool. So
Okay.
yeah, but those two guys. But as far as like just in general, like I don't know, man. I would just like to. I kind of want to keep experiencing what I've got to experience with Jay, like what like through
Yeah.
Twitter, through X. Like it sounds really not as maybe as sexy to some other people as saying like SZA or Megan Thee Stallion or whatever, but I'm like, yeah, but like you get to actually sit there and talk to the person about what you want to make them. Like you
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
how much more intimate can you get, outside of like being the person and making the shoes for that person, but that's not going to happen. So it's just one of those where it's like I'd rather just get to talk to people who are like-minded like yourself. Like I love the fact that we're getting to talk about this, and I was hoping I'd get to know a little bit more about you, but I haven't really found out much other than I mean I know everything you told me before this, but that's about
Yeah.
it. So,
No.
but
Hey,
yeah,
I'm here. So yeah, I'm here to lend a platform for the
yeah,
voice of the community, right?
and I appreciate
To
that.
get
Yeah,
to know these small businesses, because I could be wrong, but you're not getting Complex sending you a DM saying, "Hey, we'd like to have you on the podcast," and so that's what I'm here for. Is I want to let people get to know folks
yeah,
like yourself who are doing just absolutely incredible things, right?
yeah. No, I
And
appreciate that.
people who
It's
we're
it's.
supporting.
I think the biggest takeaway from all this though is that like regardless of whether Complex would come to me and ask me for an interview versus you, it's like I try to be as genuine and as present in this chapter of my life as possible because you know, it could all be taken away in an instant, man. I mean, it's not nothing's final here. It's all this is all what you make of it. And it sounds super cliche and super like deep, but truly though, like you only have one life. So you need to make the most of it while you can, because I see too many people complain about things on like the timeline, and I'm like, bro, just get to work. Get to work, man. Because like I'm telling you, the success will come. The money will always come. It will come. You just gotta work your butt off. It's
Okay.
that's my biggest thing. I always tell people, like, you can work your tail off and the good things will happen, I promise. So it'll
Yeah.
take time, but it'll happen.
Well, I have appreciated and really enjoyed this conversation. But before we get out of here,
Yeah.
where can people find you?
Mainly Instagram is where I post most of my visuals. So it's at
Okay.
S2S underscore creations. We also have the creator studio, which is our like that's where we post a lot of our classes and stuff. So you might see that pop up when you type in at S2S creations.
Okay.
Um, Go follow both. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter or X. I think my handle's like at Brando underscore S2S. So
Yeah.
feel free to follow me there. I don't tweet as much as I probably should, but hey, if you want some good deals on some custom sneakers, I'm your guy.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it, and look forward to the eventual launch of your own brand when the time
Ha,
is right.
yes, you will be one of those to know. Trust me, I will not forget you on that. You may even dare I say the word seed a pair. So yeah.
Oh, hey, we're not here for that. Hey, I'm just here to support in any way I can.
I know, man, but take care. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you too, and be safe out there and happy holidays.
Thank you. Same to you.